Throughout history, there have been many criminals whose actions have shocked and horrified the world. These infamous individuals have committed crimes so terrible that their names have become synonymous with fear and evil. From ruthless gangsters to cunning serial killers, their stories continue to fascinate and frighten us. Let's take a look at world's most infamous criminals. Al Capone. Al Capone was one of the most famous gangsters in America. He lived during the 1920s and 1930s, a time when alcohol was illegal. Al Capone made a lot of money by selling alcohol secretly. He was the leader of a group called the Chicago Outfit, which was involved in many illegal activities like gambling and selling alcohol. Capone was known for being very tough and ruthless. He didn't hesitate to hurt or kill anyone who got in his way. One of the most famous incidents involving Capone was the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where 7 of his rivals were killed. Despite all his crimes, it was tax evasion that finally got him caught. In 1931, he was sent to prison for not paying his taxes. He spent several years in Alcatraz, a famous prison, before being released. Al Capone's life of crime made him a legendary figure in American history. Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar was a famous drug lord from Colombia. He was the leader of the Medellin cartel, a group that sold cocaine, an illegal drug. Escobar made billions of dollars by selling drugs to many countries, especially the United States. Escobar was known for being very rich and very dangerous. He used his money to buy nice houses, cars, and even private planes, but he was also responsible for a lot of violence. He ordered the deaths of many people, including police officers and politicians, to protect his drug business. In the 1980s and early 1990s, Escobar's cartel controlled most of the cocaine that was sold around the world. The Colombian government and other countries worked hard to stop him. In 1993, Pablo Escobar was finally found and killed by the police. His life as a drug lord and the violence he caused made him one of the most infamous criminals in history. Charles Manson. Charles Manson was a notorious criminal in the United States. He was the leader of a group called the Manson family, which was like a cult. In the late 1960s, Manson convinced his followers to commit several murders. Manson believed in strange ideas and thought he could start a race war by killing people. One of the most famous crimes the Manson family committed was the murder of actress Sharon Tate and her friends in 1969. These murders were very brutal and shocked the entire country. Manson never actually killed anyone himself, but he told his followers to do it. Because of this, he was sent to prison for life. Charles Manson's ability to control his followers and the terrible crimes they committed made him one of the most infamous criminals in history. He died in prison in 2017, but people still remember the fear and horror he caused. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a very dangerous criminal in the United States. He was a serial killer who hurt and killed many young women in the 1970s. Bundy was clever and used his charm to make people trust him. He often pretended to be injured to get help from his victims. Bundy traveled to different states to commit his crimes, making it hard for the police to catch him. He escaped from jail twice, which added to his notoriety. Bundy's crimes were very violent, and he confessed to killing 30 women, though the real number might be higher. In 1978, Bundy was finally caught for good. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. Ted Bundy was executed in 1989. His terrible acts and the fear he caused made him one of the most infamous criminals in American history. His story is a reminder of how important it is to be careful and aware of the people around us. Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is one of the most famous criminals in history. He was a serial killer who lived in London, England in 1888. Jack the Ripper is known for killing at least 5 women, all of whom were poor and lived in a part of London called Whitechapel. Jack the Ripper's real identity has never been discovered. He became famous because of the brutal way he killed his victims and the fact that he was never caught. The newspapers at the time gave him the nickname Jack the Ripper, which made people even more afraid. The police tried very hard to catch him, but they couldn't. There were many suspects, but no one knows for sure who Jack the Ripper was. The mystery of his identity and the terrible nature of his crimes have kept people interested in his story for over 100 years. Jack the Ripper remains a symbol of fear and mystery in the history of crime. So this was all about today's video. If you enjoyed watching the video, please hit a like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.